Dino Crisis 1 was a tense, atmospheric panic horror. A dimly lit island base with no one around. You only fought when you had no choice because ammo was limited. 2 or more enemies was a major problem. You sometimes solved puzzles to avoid fighting, and until you escaped, you were always being hunted. So Dino Crisis 2 is just more of the same, right? Oh my god, absolutely not. Dino Crisis 1 was a slow burn horror. This is a firework of explosions and action. There is a gun which fires ball lightning, a triple shot heat-seeking missile launcher, arcade style light gun sections. There's even a bit where you call in an artillery strike on a dinosaur while you're standing next to it. If Dino Crisis 2 is a survival game, it's because the dinosaurs are trying to survive you. Dino Crisis 2 is as far from Dino Crisis 1 as you could possibly get, and thanks to this video's sponsor Good Old Games, both of those games are now available on PC in a remastered bundle pack. Check the video description if you want to go and buy them. Now, as a kid, I had Dino Crisis 1 but never 2. I remember seeing adverts for 2, seeing screenshots of a rocket launcher or bigger dinosaurs and thinking, oh man, this must be terrifying. So this was genuinely my first playthrough of the game, and I went into this expecting more of the same. Basically, Resident Evil 1 to 2 I thought would be Dino Crisis 1 to 2. And as much as I like Dino Crisis 1, when I realized what 2 was trying to be, I ended up grinning from ear to ear the whole time. I really enjoyed this game. So grab your electrified baton, man the anti-dinosaur hovercraft cannon, and prepare to time travel all over again as we ask the simple question, Dino Crisis 2, was it actually any good? As usual, a massive thank you to all the supporters on Patreon who make these videos possible. Launch the game, the program runs fine, it's stable, the keys are easy to remap, and the game runs in windowed mode no problem at all. Software-wise, this works. So let's kick off with an extreme voiceover.
1 year has passed since the third energy incident. Dr. Kirk's research on third energy has been taken over by a government agency, and massive research has begun at a base somewhere in the Midwest. However, in their pursuit of immediate results, they have failed to take the necessary precautions, and once again, an accident has occurred. This time, the entire research base, military institution, and a small town close by have disappeared. In their place, there now lies a jungle from another time.
The plot of Dino Crisis 2 is basically irrelevant. There is no amount of context which would make this game better or worse, but basically, remember the third energy in the first game and how it could create a vortex which brought the past into our present? Well, here we have an entire research facility teleporting dinosaurs from the past to the present to capture and study them. However, something has gone wrong, and the time vortex they were using has swallowed the entire research facility and the surrounding town and thrown them all into the past. So now we are sending a commando squad into the past to rescue it, using a special hovercraft equipped with a third energy time travel engine. Look, don't think about it too much, just it doesn't need to make sense. The opening cutscene shows the T-Rex is back, but this time we've got missile launchers, so it's not much of a threat, and we blind it. Game starts and we are back to pre-rendered backgrounds like Resident Evil 1 and 2. None of that 3D engine nonsense the first game did. This means the backgrounds are way more detailed and visually interesting. We've also got voice acting, but again, no subtitles.
The ivy's wrapped around the door, won't open. Let's try the door over there.
Oh, come on. Didn't they teach you how to open a door at SORT training? Here, I'll show you. Watch this.
Our team is 3 people. Regina, from the first game, joined by new guys Dylan and David. You'll swap control of Regina and Dylan at certain points. David only exists to get into trouble and further the plot. There are some mechanical differences between Regina and Dylan we'll see soon. We start as Dylan. Pressing select opens the map. We can see our location and facing on an area-specific minimap with all the local doors, vendors, and then an overworld map showing all the connections. The world isn't big, but it is dense, and navigating it is easy. Tank controls as before, we search this guy and grab a med pack for later, and you press square to slash your melee weapon. Melee is completely viable. Dylan has a machete, but it's not just for combat. If you see a gate covered in ivy, Dylan can hack the ivy away. For firepower, hold R1 to ready your shotgun. You can still run while aiming. Health is shown to the top right, and only a minute in, we're attacked by 3 dinosaurs. Now you'll notice we have 100 shotgun ammo, and combat plays a tad differently here. Bullets can pierce enemies, you run fast, shoot fast, and they die fast. You also get points per kill like Devil May Cry, with bonuses for varying attacks between melee and range and scoring combos. You can climb this ladder fast to get away, enemies will jump up after you, turn around, shoot down, and then you realize Dino Crisis 2 is a fast-paced run-and-gun action game. So let's do this. The inventory screen is mapped to L3 by default. I find a support file and learn that killing enemies gets you extinction points, and you use these points at shop terminals to buy stupidly powerful sci-fi weapons and ammo. So the more combat you do, the better stuff you get. The mixing system has also been completely removed. You'll be using med packs way more, but they're also more common. Now, because you get bonus points for combos, you're essentially encouraged to run in all guns blazing and make it from pack to pack. And there's a bonus for not taking any damage. So every section is essentially a small corridor, and after each one, you'll see a little recap of your score for that specific bit. But it's not just dinosaurs on this island. We also spot a mysterious ninja.
Hey! Who are you? Are you one of the survivors? Don't run away! Come out! We came here to rescue you!
I find an in-game folder called a Dino file. These give hints on enemies, and the hint for the basic raptor is never run away, never turn your back to it, always fight. So basically unlearn everything you learned from Dino Crisis 1. We are running and gunning, baby. In this room we find our first save point, unlimited saves, and our first shop, new weapons, upgraded armor, or increased maximum ammo for a weapon you already have. Buying the increased maximum ammo also refills your ammo, so it's more efficient than buying refills alone. Explore more, then run through this rather nice looking farmland with lovely views into the distance, and within 5 minutes I've killed more dinosaurs than the entirety of Dino Crisis 1 even had. Some locations like here seem to be unlimited spawn points. You can press L1 to switch targets and essentially farm points, provided you're not spending more on ammunition than you are earning. Reach the facility and we meet the one-eyed T-Rex, the one we shot with the RPG from earlier. It's back for revenge, so we've got a personal grudge boss. A nemesis, if you will. You can't kill the T-Rex yet, so just run, and I love how it's the T-Rex that smashes the scenery up, which opens the escape route of this fight. Similar to the first boss crashing into the building in Future Cop LAPD, I really like when enemies and scenery interact and it's beneficial for the player. But as we run, more ninjas shoot some more explosive discs at us, so we dodge into a building, find some more files on the T-Rex, and a note explaining the 10th anniversary of the third energy experiment failure. So this facility has been here in the past for 10 years. Occasionally you'll turn a corner and see some cockroaches or insects scurry away. This is just a nice flourish to add some visual movement to the scene. And here's a lovely touch. Every time you use an item from your inventory, the inventory reassesses itself to consolidate down and take up as little space as possible. I get attacked by a raptor and start bleeding. Your health bar turns red when you are bleeding, and you'll constantly lose health until you stop the bleeding using a healing item. Bleeding is more dangerous than just taking direct damage because you'll lose more health over the long term from this status. Eventually I find a locked door, but it's electronically locked. Remember this, it will be important later. We find some more memos on the state of the citizens and the soldiers of the local town. We use a key to open a safe, but then the room we are in locks itself. Dylan is trapped. Time to play as Regina. Both characters play in the same area through the same sections, but the interactions and routes are very slightly different. Regina starts with a pistol. This will quickly be outclassed, but unlike the first game, is actually a decent weapon. But the mechanical change is Regina has a stun baton melee weapon. Good in close combat, but the mechanical difference is while Dylan can hack ivy away from gates with a machete, Regina can short-circuit electronic locks, so a route unavailable to one is available to the other. Has to be said as well here, the music is an absolute banger. cross this bridge, see enemies below us, then enemies above us, and the camera angles and use of depth to enhance the feeling of being totally trapped in this deadly world is just terrific. I get attacked by these flying swarms of mosquitoes, try to shoot them but no use, you have to melee them instead. Remember Dino Crisis 1 had no real mechanical variation for enemy behaviors. Here we've already got enemies that you need to melee attack. I then get attacked quite a lot and taken to 0 health, but there's a final chance mechanic. The hit which takes you to 0 doesn't kill you. You only die if you take damage while on 0 health. So you have a final chance to panic heal. We explore the jungle a bit and welcome to the poison swamp bit. Touching the poison will kill you, so don't do that. Go to climb up, get attacked, and decide to run away. Need a slightly bigger gun for this fight. Neat touch with movement. If you run towards some enemies, they will jump at you, but if you keep running, you can dodge underneath them, so running away is worse than running in. Everything is designed to encourage you to stay in the action. Inside a building, we find a file about poisonous plants. It says, use a flamethrower, so we check the nearby shop and wouldn't you know it, they're selling a flamethrower. Dino Crisis 2 has a selection of weapons and they're all brutal. Just be aware you can have a one-handed main weapon and a one-handed melee weapon equipped at the same time. The shotgun counts as a one-handed weapon, but if you equip a two-handed weapon like the flamethrower, you lose your melee attack. You can, however, open the menu at any time, even in combat, and change back to get your melee attack back. Dylan and Regina don't share all weapons. Some purchases on one aren't available on the other. For example, Dylan gets the solid-state cannon, which creates a ball of localized electrical lightning, and Regina gets the missile pod, which fires 3 homing smaller missiles. Dylan gets the single-shot rocket launcher, Regina gets the submachine guns. Weapons with a mechanical use, however, like the flamethrower destroying the poison plants allowing for navigation, are available to both. Armed with the new power of long-range flame, we head back to the plants but bump into another strange ninja, get into a little altercation, end up saving them from death, and then we interrogate them.
Grab my hand. Who art? Listen, young lady, I don't want to do this to you, but you've left me no other choice.
Yeah, let's leave the enemy handcuffed to a pipe in a random office, sure nothing bad will happen. The flamethrower, like every video game flamethrower ever, eats ammunition but is incredibly powerful. It can even toast the armored Allosaur outside. See? Backtracking and mechanical progression against resistant enemies based on unlocking new power. Dino Crisis 2 may look like dumb, stupid fun, but there's actually a lot of really competent design philosophies hiding under the surface. Now we can burn the poison plants and make it deeper into the jungle, but we do find another note that says to reach the missile silo we will need a gas mask. Remember that. Have to say the pre-rendered backgrounds and poison plants just look gorgeous together. Beautiful mix of colors combined with the orange of the flamethrower. It just really works. Reach the same farmland from earlier. Enjoy the herbivores in the distance just grazing, reinforcing that the dinosaurs can be peaceful. We are the ones running around with guns here. They were just chilling. Finally reach the facility, take some keycards and run through the rooms, blasting enough to stun the small raptors, and finally reach and rescue Dylan.
Hey, what took you so long?
Nice to see you, too. You owe me one. I found a young female survivor, but she was uncooperative. I locked her up in the control shack. I'll take her back to the ship. You go on ahead. I'll meet you there. Just try to relax. What is wrong with you? You're a survivor, right? Please, we're here to help. What's your name? Where are all the others? Where's your family?
Regina, you better come and see this.
Who trashed the place?
It wasn't dinosaurs. Someone must have got in here and destroyed all the computers.
The activator for the gate is broken too. We can't get back to our own time.
It must have been those people with the helmets.
They also damaged the engine activator. We can't even move our ship.
Okay. We'll have to look for something in this world in order to get us back to our original time. And we have to find parts for the ship, too.
Hey, before you go, handcuff the girl so she won't run away. There's a facility we haven't gone to yet. You gotta check it out.
Right.
With this, we return to our special military hovercraft, but oh no! Our special magical time travel vortex third energy engine has been destroyed! We are now trapped in the past, unless we can fix it. What a crisis. With dinosaurs, too. We explore around the boat and see that our ship is quite the assault vessel, which is good because we'll be doing quite some assaulting quite soon. The world map is also flashing red on a certain section. This is probably important, so I journey on over. More battles with more Allosaurs, and these guys have more tactics than I realized. They are only vulnerable when attacked from the side. So you need to bait them into a charge, then dodge around, or run at them and around them, flaming as you go. Enemy variety, that's impressive. So I can't quite reach the red on the map yet, but some boxes from earlier have moved, opening a new route. So we run and gun our way past more dinos, and I've just realized you don't need to reload any weapon. Just run and gun. No wasted time. We spot our old nemesis, one-eyed T-Rex in the distance, and then reach the water tower. We got here earlier with Regina, but now Dylan can clear a route with his machete. Crisscrossing critical paths with different unlocks. I like it. I buy a new weapon, the solid state cannon. Ammo is more expensive, so I'll use this sparingly, but I give it a try and oh my god, this is a beast. And I learn right now that the solid-state cannon, despite being one of the earliest weapons, is the best weapon in the game. It creates an orb of electrical energy which hovers in the air in front of you, shocking everything that comes near it many times a second. Every new shot replaces the previous orb, but you can run up to enemies and effectively shoot the ball lightning inside the enemy model, negating any defense they have. This trivializes most enemies, fries anything from the inside out. You will be using this weapon until endgame. While climbing a ladder, you are animation locked into the climb, but you are also invulnerable, so it's a sneaky tactic to avoid damage if you time it right. Shoot our way into the facility and meet a new enemy, poison-spitting dinosaurs. 3 of them in fact, so we're dealing with ranged attacks now as well, and I'm out of good ammo, so I just burn or run past them. Inside, we learn that we may be able to build a new time travel engine by scavenging some parts from the facility, a nearby town, and a missile silo. A note in here also tells us that these small dinosaurs are called compies, and you can lure them into traps using shiny things. We go to leave, and wouldn't you know it, a tiny compy jumps out and steals the keycard that we just got and then runs away. Now this is a puzzle, and for some reason you can't just shoot the guy. Instead, you must open and close the various ventilation shafts around the multiple rooms and chase the compy from room to room, leading it all the way to the cage at the very end and then taking your keycard back. Using the card, we can get deeper into this facility and find experiment vats filled with liquid and human-like bodies suspended. What kind of experiments were they doing on this island? We also find a starter battery, which is probably useful for rebuilding the hovercraft engine. So we return, but the prisoner we chained up is no longer here.
Huh? She's gone.
Yeah, I can see that. You know what else is weird? I've checked the stats on all the residents and soldiers, but I couldn't find any profile fitting her description. It's like she doesn't exist.
Well, I was thinking, maybe she's not one of the survivors at all. What if those helmet people are from a completely different time than ours?
What?
Never mind. We found parts that might help fix the ship. But what matters now is we still haven't found any survivors or helpful data, so we must move on and search elsewhere.
This control panel is programmed to search for the areas where we can dock. Use it.
Right.
We installed the starter battery. We can't travel through time yet, but we can at least move the hovercraft, and now you have 2 locations you can travel to, the military 3rd Energy Research Facility or the civilian Edwards City. Let's go to Edwards City first. But even that isn't simple, because as we set off, seems dinosaurs can now swim, and the pterodactyls are back, and this means it's time for an on-rails shooting section. There are a few times this mechanic will come up. You can see the map, so you know how far you have left to go. You've got sea monsters, pterodactyls, they just keep firing. Watch out for the danger warnings, and just as I'm thinking, this is like an arcade game. Regina says,
Good job, we're here. Sharp shooter, aren't you? Hang around the arcades much?
So Dino Crisis 2 is fully self-aware. Finish the gunning section, reach Edward City. The shop has some new stuff now, an inner suit which can prevent bleeding, an upgraded machete, or extending how long the combo meter remains on the screen for. Unfortunately, Edward City is locked. You actually need to travel to the Third Energy military facility first. Traveling between them now doesn't let you do the arcade shooter mini-game again, which is a shame because it was fun. I like what they were going for with the open world feel, with the hovercraft as the transport hub, the save room, and the shop, but you've only got 3 locations. The jungle that you start in, then Edward City and the military Third Energy facility, and you need to visit them in a specific order. So while we will be backtracking later, I don't think they really pushed this freeform discovery element as far as it could go. We reach the Third Energy facility, run along some gantryways above some pools of water, and long-necked dinos flail around and attack us. Don't waste too much ammo on these as they do respawn quite fast, but do be aware they take more damage if you shoot them as they lunge at you, so there's even an element of timing involved here. Find a record on a dead guy. It says he dropped his engineering card key back in the jungle spring, and now that section from earlier is flashing on our map, so it's time for some backtracking. Take the hovercraft back to the jungle, return to the spring, but where would the card key be? Well, notice you can watch this leaf float down the stream. If you follow the leaf, you'll find where the card key was carried off to by the water. That's a lovely way of combining visual design with mechanical hints. We grab the key, head back to the facility, and go inside. We find a docked boat with a supply box, but it's locked. So I head all the way inside and find a boat box key. Then a record saying Bob the mechanic had a key to Edward City, but he went to check on the underwater section of the reactor and hasn't come back yet, so I know where we are heading. But while here, I pick up a new weapon. The triple homing rocket launcher. This thing is a beast. Takes down flying enemies super fast, homes in on the tentacles. Sure, it eats through ammo, but we're basically unkillable now. I even find a Third Energy mechanic ID card, then use that to open the box on the boat, and inside there find the code for the underwater facility, 4521. If you forget this, unlike Dino Crisis 1, Dino Crisis 2 has a complete journal, which records every file and code you have found, so you can double check anything at any time. You can farm the tentacles for points using the triple rocket launcher if you like, as each one rewards more than it costs to buy the ammo to kill it. When you're done, head into the underwater lab. You need to restart the reactor, but it's locked down. Don't worry, Regina is a dab hand at restarting reactors. To reboot this system, you must play whack-a-mole with the lights. Use Regina's stun baton to hit whatever lights up. The timings on this are actually quite tight. But after hitting the generator enough and performing percussive maintenance, it reboots and we get the diving suit. Activate the elevator, descend into the water, put on the suit. But we are not alone. And so starts the underwater bit. You move slower. Everything has this gentle aquatic glow, and there are many crocodiles. Thankfully, we've got a powerful short-range punch which knocks the enemies away and pushes us backwards slightly, and an unlimited ammo long-range spear gun. This is starting to feel like a James Bond film, and I mean one of the good old James Bond films, and the music is just pure old-school cheesy action film, and I am here for it. Another shop. I don't quite have the money to purchase the, get ready for this, underwater automatic grenade launcher, but my god, I will buy this the moment I can. You can also jump while underwater, and jumping is needed, such as jumping over this rusted shut gate. You can even shoot while in I was going to say air, but I suppose mid-water. To include a platforming section in an underwater section using pre-rendered backgrounds is a fascinating gameplay choice, but my god, it just works. There's a broken column here. We need to destroy it, but our weapon doesn't have the firepower, so getting the aqua grenade gun isn't just for combat, it's needed for puzzle progression, which will also ensure that you have it for the following boss. So farm some enemies, grab the new gun, and now we're one-shot killing most things. Blow the column up, ascend the steps it makes, find a plug, use this to open some more doors, and deeper in we go. Eventually we find the body of Bob the mechanic, dead of course, so we take the key to Edward City, head into the deepest part of the facility, and then a huge dinosaur swims past us, damaging the reactor and trapping us in with it. This leads to, and I'm so happy I get to say these words, an underwater platform puzzler run and gun boss fight against a giant aquatic dinosaur. We are hopping from ledge to ledge, firing underwater grenades, punching it in the face. Honestly, this is just a stupidly fun boss fight. Take the boss down, find an elevator, take it back to the surface, and oh hey, we're back in Edward City. I guess the research facility runs under the lake and connects the two locations. We then get a call from David, our third teammate. He tells us to head into the city now we have the card, and we switch back to playing as Dylan. Inside the city we meet a Triceratops. Enemies are a bit tougher, but the electric cannon is still carrying us. We find a new dino file on a new enemy, only weak when they stand on their hind legs just before an attack. So I guess now we're playing chicken with a dinosaur. David, our other team member, is leaving marks of yellow paint on trees and we must follow them to find him. So is this the first use of yellow paint to guide the player? Dino Crisis 2 was a trailblazer. We reach a rock blocking our path and get told we can destroy it with the chain mine gun. I need a shop, so I check the map, but the electrical interference of the city blocks our map. That's a lovely touch. So for this bit, we're navigating the old-fashioned way, by memory. Take down a massive dinosaur outside using the brutal power of the electric gun, then buy the chain mine. This is a one-handed sidearm. It fires a small line of mines onto the floor which then blow up, making it the ultimate defensive weapon, and as we'll soon see, mechanically unique. We use the chain mine to blow up the rock and head into the cave system. Seems we're inside a volcano. There are some lava flows. We even meet some armored dinosaurs that the electric gun can't do much damage to, but if you use the chain mine, the explosions will flip them onto their back, and then you can fry them. Nice little combo there. Make it all the way through the cave, meet up with Regina in the city, but then we're attacked by a massive dinosaur, and now starts one of the most absurd sections in a game made almost entirely of absurd sections. Regina and Dylan need to navigate through the city streets, but there are lots of dinosaurs, so Dylan sits in a massive artillery turret, and Regina runs through the streets with a flare gun. You shoot a flare, and then moments later, Dylan will rain down artillery on you. It doesn't hurt you, only the enemies. So you run through the streets calling in constant artillery strikes on yourself to kill dinosaurs. But as cool as that is, it's still not as powerful as the triple-shot rocket launcher at close range. You know that bit in Resident Evil 5 when Chris punched a boulder to death and everyone thought, that's it, that's the most absurd moment in Capcom games? I would argue that this is. Special Force spies taking on multiple dinosaurs using electro ball stun guns to lock them in and then calling an airstrike on themselves. This is the moment it gets silly, and it's brilliant. You swap control between Regina and Dylan as each moves from turret to turret, providing constant artillery support for the other until eventually reaching the central compound. Everything is dead, but then we're charged by another angry Triceratops. We dive into a jeep, Regina takes the wheel while we man the mounted grenade launcher, of course. Another on-rails shooter section. This time the Triceratops charges through the undergrowth at the jeep, eventually joined by a friend doing the same. Just keep pelting grenades at them until Regina accidentally drives the jeep off a cliff, crashing us into a dino nest in a cutscene which still stands up remarkably well. Thankfully, our teammate David is here to save the day.
Surrounded. Dave, you're toast!
That helicopter attack scene is one of the best cutscenes in both Dino Crisis games. I know, technically there are 3, if you want to be pedantic, 4 Dino Crisis games, but we are not acknowledging 3 and 4. The team then reunites and heads to the destroyed Edward City, but due to the damage, David crashes the helicopter, so we decide to split up and search the city to rebuild the time gate on our own hovercraft to return to our time. Back to playing as Dylan. We need the living quarters key, so we search around, find some more dinosaurs, even find a local drugstore, and I wonder if this is a Resident Evil 2 Easter egg. A shop. A raptor killed with a single shotgun blast. Seems very specific. I buy the rocket launcher for Dylan at the shop, amazingly powerful weapon, but does have a tendency to shoot over enemies if they are too close. You can counter this by just firing more rockets or using the electric solid cannon. Despite being the early weapon, it's still the best. Explore the city, but then old One-Eye McT-Rex shows back up. Thankfully, there happens to be a fully functional tank close by. That's convenient, so we hop on in and now need to drive through the city streets, using the rotating primary cannon to both keep the T-Rex at bay and destroy obstacles in front of us. You can use secondary fire to fire a flashbang grenade and stun the T-Rex. You still can't kill him, but here's where I realized that Dino Crisis 2 is essentially a series of very fun, very short mini-games like arcade shooters, on-rails jeep chases, whack-a-mole with lights, artillery bombardment, or tank driving, connected by running and gunning down dinosaur-infested corridors. Reach the end of the route, the tank gets stuck, so we hop out and we find the gas mask, meaning we can now access the missile silo. Then even more ninjas show up. We are outnumbered, but saved by the prisoner girl we took earlier. She drops a necklace, and Dylan recognizes it.
What happened?
My sister's necklace. This necklace belonged to my sister who passed away.
What?
This can't be possible. It looks so much like the one my sister used to wear.
What do you mean?
Well, I was a very different person before I joined the army. Just a worthless street thug. At the time, I was in a gang, and one day our rivals forced their way into my house. I wasn't home, but my mom and sister were. And they were... well, they're gone. And after that, I joined the army, and have spent every day trying to make up for the past.
Come on, let's go back to the patrol ship. We have no business here now.
I found a gas mask over there. We could use it to get into the deadly poison zone in the jungle. Let's go.
That's right, the ninja girl looks exactly like Dylan's sister. How can this be, you might ask? And that's a very good question. Let's see what the game can figure out to come up with. Pilot the hovercraft back to the jungle from the start, use the gas mask to access the missile silo, and hope we can find the remaining parts to fix our own time travel engine. We push into the silo and find a disc on all the third energy research. I interact with all the desks in case there are hidden items, and there are. I find a secret file on the Gigantosaurus, a myth, a legend, a dinosaur bigger than the T-Rex, but nobody has ever seen it. Only the destruction it leaves. So we go to leave, but then our old friend the T-Rex shows back up. But the myths are true.
You again? Persistent thing, aren't you? Dylan, you scared me. I finally found the third energy data disk.
Great. Now we can get out of here. I brought the patrol ship around behind the building. Come on, let's go.
What? It's our Cyclops friend again.
It can't be. The T-Rex is already...
Attack on missile launcher confirmed. Activating emergency interception mode. Missile will launch in 10 minutes. Evacuate immediately.
The computer's malfunctioned.
This is not good. Where's the control panel for the missile?
It's inside the warhead. I'll go in and shut off the controller. You go ahead and evacuate.
Okay. Be careful.
Gigantosaurus has not only thrown away our nemesis, but also damaged the missile silo and started the 10-minute launch countdown timer. We now have 10 real-life minutes to reach the warhead of the missile and deactivate it because we need the internal components of it to fix our time travel hovercraft. God, this game is stupid and I love it! This is a hybrid combat puzzle section. You switch on the gas taps and then use the stun gun to ignite the gas and blast the Gigantosaurus back. This is where health packs get used up, and after flaming it back several times it falls down, giving you time to activate the lift to ride up and restart the bridge by doing another whack-a-mole light minigame, and if you miss a single one you fail, and timings are really tight now. And when you reach the 6-minute mark, the background music speeds up to add to the tension. Eventually reach the warhead, deactivate it, get the parts we need to fix our engine, and go and leave. But the Gigantosaurus is not dead. The missile falls over but doesn't explode, and then we begin our escape. The facility is now on fire. We shoot our way past these larger Komodo dragon-style dinosaurs. Even the rocket launcher struggles with these. But I do have to say, the killing of the T-Rex in this way is the first design choice I've really disagreed with. Just having a cutscene show it being thrown away. The T-Rex was a personal enemy, with a recognizable scar, a grudge. We saw it in the first cutscene. We caused that damage. It appeared to hinder us multiple times. Having it be defeated by just a bigger dinosaur feels underwhelming. It feels like they've traded personal connection for spectacle. While Gigantosaurus is cool and all, T-Rex was our bad guy. It's like if the Nemesis in Resident Evil was defeated by just a bigger random mutant halfway through. Eventually we do reach the hovercraft. Unfortunately, the sound balancing in this game is just as bad as the first.
Are you okay, Regina? Get on, quick. Give me a break, man. We're dead. We have to get as far away from this place as possible. Let's head down the river.
Great, the water gate's closed. We can't go any further.
Wait, there's a valve. Maybe we can open the gate manually.
Whoa! Let the men handle this. Let's go, bro.
Fine. You boys, play nice now.
The waterway is blocked. We need to open the spillway gates, so David does that while we keep him safe, providing overwatch with a mounted tower cannon. Another first-person shooter section. Once he's opened the gate, we all head back to the boat, but tragedy strikes. Rip in peace, David. I'll always remember you as the guy I always forget is in Dino Crisis 2. Dylan got thrown to safety from that and washes up on shore. We meet the strange ninja girl from earlier and now have to escort her through the jungle. Yes, it's an escort mission, but it's fine because she can fight back. This leads to an unknown part of the jungle not on our map with what seems to be a massive time gate. This is the hyper-advanced main lab. To get inside, we must deactivate 4 lasers, each controlled by a giant pylon out the front of the lab, so push the button on the pylon, deactivate it, fight the dinosaurs this spawns, and eventually head on in. We find the superintendent's will and learn that the lab we are in was designed to keep the dinosaurs safe with specialized life support chambers that can heal any wound. These chambers were programmed to feed knowledge to their inhabitants on how to live and grow, effectively how to be dinosaurs in the way we need you to be in order to fix the past. But this is dinosaur-specific knowledge, as they were never meant to house human beings. The surviving children of the facility who were wounded in the dinosaur attack were, however, placed in these life support chambers chambers to save their lives, in the hope that people from the past would one day be able to rescue them. The problem being that these children have been brainwashed by the chambers and being constantly fed dinosaur behavioral information, leaving them unable to speak and acting with a pack-like mentality similar to that of dinosaurs, explaining why the helmeted survivors attack us on sight. Reach the main hall, beautiful pre-rendered backgrounds, and a hologram addresses Dylan, bringing more shocking revelations.
Welcome, Lieutenant Morton.
A hologram? Well, how does he know my name?
There's not much time left, so I'll explain it short and simple. On August 10th, 2055, our Noah's Ark plan became successful.
Year 2055? What's he talking about?
To save the dinosaurs, we transferred the dinosaurs to this time, 3 million years ahead of our time.
What? 3 million years? Then you're from...
But there was another accident when we were about to go back. The gate disappeared and we were stranded in this time.
Then this is the future.
There was no way for us to survive in this world, where dinosaurs now rule. We, the remaining survivors, hurried to recover the gate. But it's too late now. My wife, Julia, was killed by the dinosaurs, and my loving child, she was hurt badly. Paula.
Paula.
Paula? Is that your name?
Papa.
My only mission now is to protect my group. I have kept Paula and the other children safe by putting them inside life support chambers. Please, take the children back to your time. And now, I should introduce myself. I am former Special Forces Strat member, Colonel Dylan Morton.
What? You're myself in the future? Then you're my...
Papa.
We don't have much time left. There's a gate behind the door. You can use it to return to your time. The gate is not complete yet. You'll be able to use it only once. Please, say hello to Regina for me.
Shock reveal. Now, I'll try to explain this. Get ready, it gets really dumb. The Third Energy Project, the whole take dinosaurs from the past and study them in the present plan, caused problems in the past because you effectively changed a whole ecosystem. This led to a butterfly effect, creating an alternate timeline reality where humans never existed. To fix this, something called the Noah's Ark plan was put into place, where ancient organisms were transported from the past 3 million years into the future to a similar environment, allowed to exist and evolve as they would have normally, then sent 3 million years back to the past to replace the dinosaurs that were originally taken and effectively fix the problems the invasive study caused. thus fixing the timeline so humanity evolves normally. Basically trying to make a dinosaur and then just put it back where it should be. But the Noah's Ark plan went wrong when the facility in the future attempted to use their time gate, overloaded it, and blew it up, stranding the created dinosaurs, soldiers, and scientists of the plan in the future. Dylan is the commander of this facility, which means right now we are not in the past, we are actually 3 million years in the future. But there is one time gate in the facility which still works, which can send one person to the past, or present, technically. Now, if you stop to think about this, it makes absolutely no sense, but there is no time to think. Ninja clones are back, Gigantosaurus is back, and another timer kicks off. We have 5 actual minutes to deactivate all the safeguards and escape, but before we do, we interact with some computer terminals, re-establish a satellite uplink, lock onto the Gigantosaur's position, which is right next to us, and then, and I swear this is literally the first time the game even mentions this is a thing, fire the satellite-mounted orbital bombardment ion cannon, melting the Gigantosaurus and everything below it. This game has a lot of shocking revelations, but the revelation of, oh yeah, there's also a super weapon in space that we could use whenever we want, that was definitely an unexpected twist. The ion cannon blast has almost destroyed the facility. Paula, that's the clone girl's name, is pinned. The gate is open. Dylan could leave, but instead he pushes Regina through.
Papa.
Dylan, what are we gonna do? If we don't go now, we'll never get back.
Regina, the gate is open. I know you don't want to, but you have to go back by yourself. I won't leave Paula.
Are you crazy?
Just go, please. You have the third energy data, right? When you get back to our original time, use the data to learn about third energy. Then build a perfect gate and come pick us up for the last time.
Dylan. I will. I promise.
Final warning. 10 seconds to detonation.
Don't forget, you still owe me one.
Well then, you better get back quick.
Regina now needs to build a time gate in the present to rescue Dylan from 3 million years in the future, and the game ends, because this is an early 2000s action game, with a still image of Dylan in casual clothes driving a sports car showing your total score. What a wild ride. The main game only took me 4 hours and 10 minutes to beat without a guide, but goddamn was it an intense 4 hours, but we're still not quite done. You can now spend the remaining extinction points you have on unlocking stuff for the Colosseum, a wave survival fight mode inside a small VR-style arena, where you can play as Regina, Dylan, the tank, dinosaurs, or even Gale from the first Dino Crisis, finally letting you kill the T-Rex. And that is Dino Crisis 2. So now we can answer the simple question, was it actually any good? Honestly, for what comes across as a stupidly over-the-top, dumb, fun shooter, there's a surprising amount of design competence, backtracking, new routes, progression, weapons having both combat and then exploration utility, gameplay variation, enemy variation, beautiful visuals, and engaging set pieces. I think many people were annoyed at how different Dino Crisis 2 is to Dino Crisis 1, and then how short it ended up being, but I actually enjoyed the experience of playing this game more than the first. I think the switch to arcade-style action worked really well. The visuals are great, the music is great, the moment-to-moment gameplay is exciting, and what few puzzles there are interact with your weapons and never overstay their welcome. I think they could have used some of the mini-games like tank driving or hovercraft shooting more than once, but when my main mechanical complaint is, I want more game, shows they've gone with quality over quantity. I think the attempt at a more open world element fell a bit flat. The hovercraft traveling could be expanded into something more fleshed out, gaining skills or weapons from specific places and backtracking for secrets like Soul Reaver, having optional areas. You could even expand Dino Crisis into a more Metroidvania style game. The horror element is fully replaced with mechanical action, so lean into that. My biggest gripe is how the one-eyed T-Rex was set up as a personal rival from the start, with a repeated appearance like the Nemesis system and just killed by the Gigantosaurus at the very end, which we then killed with a super weapon we knew nothing about. It feels lackluster, like it was an unearned payoff. I'd have preferred to have the T-Rex actually kill the Gigantosaurus somehow. Something as absurd as the T-Rex pressing the button to launch the missile, or fire the ion cannon and then we kill him with the pistol. And where the hell did the ion cannon even come from? Was that a last-minute addition to explain how we killed the Gigantosaurus? But all these are narrative nitpicks, and hey, we've got time-traveling dinosaurs and cloning. It's not exactly the most watertight narrative. In fact, it's the opposite of watertight. It's wet. It's complete, utter nonsense. It flows like one of those stories you'd write in school by each person writing a sentence, folding the paper over and passing it to the next person. All anyone knows is something to do with dinosaurs and time travel. I mean, the plot of the first game wasn't great, but it made sense. This is just absurd. But all in all, it was great fun. Unfortunately, they did make a sequel, Dino Crisis 3. This was an Xbox exclusive, meant to be released for PS2 but never quite being finished, where you fight cloned DNA experiments which look like dinosaurs on a space station. It is by all accounts absolutely terrible, and if I can find a way to play it, my god I will. But to end this review, I will award Dino Crisis 2...
Good job, we're here. Sharp shooter, aren't you? Hang around the arcades much?
out of 10. Cheers for watching. Another massive thank you to the team at GOG for sponsoring this video and the supporters on Patreon and Twitch who keep the channel alive. You can support from only £1 a month. Check the video description for links to the GOG Dino Crisis 1 and 2 bundle, Patreon, Instagram, and Discord. And as always, remember...
I'll see you